All right, everybody. Here we go. This is the soul of San Francisco, 89.5 FM, KPOO.com. This is also Rap Snacks Radio. This is hip hop, health, healing. From the Northern California perspective, this is the original Friday Night Vibe. I'm T Cash. Today we're going to talk about what that thumbnail, what that title denotes. Oh my goodness. The question is, bruh, did the hood give us high blood pressure, bruh? You know the answer to this one, but I'll give you a hint. Yeah, that's the hint. Yes, it did. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah, the hood gave us high blood pressure, man. And we are not going to waste any time getting into this one, so let's get into it. Shall we? Yes, we shall. Okay, here we go. What is high blood pressure? All right, that's where we should start. Because up until now, we have these very Eurocentric, hyperinflated, hard to understand terms in which blood pressure is defined. Very, 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 very important, but very, 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 very distant and out of our reach. The terms to define blood pressure are, and I'm going to go on record and say, I believe that's on purpose. So let's demystify and simplify, lack of better words, blood pressure, so we can understand it, understand why we should take advantage of having normal blood pressure, and how we can stay away from the things that we live in and around that could cause high blood pressure. All right. Well, okay, here we go. What is blood pressure? Blood pressure is simply the force by which blood pumps against the arteries and veins in your body. One more time. Blood pressure is the pressure of force by which blood pumps against the arteries and veins in your body. When people say, what are you talking about against? Against the walls of the arteries and the veins. So imagine this is the artery, this is the vein, these are the walls. The blood pumps through it and the walls just kind of go along with the program and it just moves along freely. If the walls are tight or narrow because of stress, fight or flight response, or let's say that the blood is thicker than it needs to be because it's unhealthy, or those veins are a little tighter because there's a lot of plaque, cholesterol buildup in there, then that process it's not. I'm making these gestures with my hands online. You can see it, but if you can't, 89.5 listeners, I'm basically making very smooth gestures with my hands when it's normal and very static, unhealthy gestures with my hands when it's not. So that is probably the simplest way I can define blood pressure. But one more time, it is the force by which blood pumps against the walls of your veins and arteries throughout your body. When that is a smooth process and everything is normal and healthy and everything's moving the way it should move for your body, that's called normal blood pressure. When it's a high amount of force and a high amount of pressure needed to move this blood throughout your body, that's called high blood pressure. If there's a lot less force than expected and the blood is kind of like thinly free flowing, moving throughout your body, that's low blood pressure. And today we're going to talk about high blood pressure because high blood pressure is a killer, right? And it can be avoided and reversed, but we just have to know it in more everyday terms in order to do something about it. So again, you're really trying to control how free flowing the blood moves through your body. And there are ways that keep that from happening, and there are ways that help that to happen normally, smoothly. All right. So let's get straight into some of the things that the neighborhood can produce that could affect our blood pressure in the way that I described it. The first thing is the neighborhood can produce stress, and not just acute stress, meaning one-time pieces of stress that come and go. No. I'm talking about chronic stress. You know what chronic stress is? It means what it sounds like. The root word in Latin is chron or time stress, stress over time, stress all the time. And one of the symptoms of having stress all the time, well, one of the symptoms of being stressed is something called the fight or flight response in your body. And one of the aspects of that response or characteristics of that response is your body tensing up and your blood pressure going up. But once the stress is over with, the blood pressure goes back down. The issue, though, is chronic stress from living around these elements that we live around growing up or being in the hood. Those elements, they're chronic. That means they don't go away. So what doesn't go away if the stress doesn't go away? And the stress denotes the high blood pressure. That's right. The high blood pressure doesn't go away unless we make it go away. What are some ways that we can make it go away given the elements that we're in? This is not to say, I'm not saying that, okay, in order to make the blood pressure go down, you have to combat police brutality and vote out a few politicians in your city. That would help. But I mean, on an everyday level, what can we do in order to really, really combat this high blood pressure? Here's the flip side to that. And this is where I don't want to sound preachy or condescending, but it's something that someone told me a while ago that stuck, and I'm hoping that it sticks with you. One of the number one things that we could do to help support our bodies through high blood pressure and reverting it back to normal blood pressure is feeding it properly. One more time, what we can do to our bodies to help with bringing down blood pressure, normalizing blood pressure, is feeding it properly. Well, tell me something I don't know, T Cash, but I am in the struggle. I live on 123 Struggle Street on Struggle Block in the Struggle District of Struggle, California, 94 Struggle. That's the zip code. Tell me something we don't know. It is assumed that if you live in the hood, then there might be some scarcity day to day when it comes to groceries and food resources you can utilize to bring it down. So let's take it a step further and assume that that is the case and that you're not able to necessarily go beyond the liquor store that you grocery shop at, and that you don't have the deserved luxury of not witnessing and hearing some of the elements of the neighborhood day to day. Here are 3 hacks that you can kind of go through, and hopefully this can help you. Excuse me. This can help you with lowering and sustaining normal blood pressure. Lowering high blood pressure. I can't even say that. And sustaining normal blood pressure. First thing is first, drink more water. Drink more water. All right. Water helps regulate blood pressure because it helps dilute the blood and rid the blood of microtoxins that can allow the blood to thicken or leave deposits of toxins upon the walls of your arteries and vessels that cause that harshness upon it that causes the high amount of force or pressure of blood pumping through your body, aka high blood pressure. So drink more water. People say, well, can I drink tap water? Yes and no. Do I think that that is the end all be all? No. Can you drink it? Yes. So drink it if you can, as much as you can. Not all day, every day, but a rule of thumb is get a cup and try to drink once every hour if you can for about 8 hours. It doesn't have to be straight 8. It could be 4 in the morning, 4 at night, 2 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, another 2 at night. It could be whatever it's going to be, but do that. Second thing is, if you can, don't add any salt to your food. Don't add any salt to your food. This is not about sodium content and sodium. We're not even there yet. And that's disrespectful because I'm not going to give you a lecture about sodium before we even talk about high blood pressure. All right. Don't add any salt to your food if you can. Do not do it. Meaning Salt, a cause of high blood pressure, being taken away from your food, reduces, you guessed it, the cause of high blood pressure. Reduces it, reduces the cause, right? So that cause is reduced to the point that it may not cause high blood pressure. All right. The third one is, and this is very important, very, very important. Get your numbers. Get your numbers. Some of us may not have high blood pressure at all. But if we knew that, and we still knew that what we were doing is safe and the way to manage it, then we know when and how we deviate and how to prevent that from happening. So if there's a free clinic, if you do have health insurance and you can make an appointment with a doctor or just a nurse practitioner to get a checkup, please do it. All right. So one more time, just at least on the physical side of things, more water, less salt, know your numbers, get your numbers if you can. One more as a bonus, and then we are out the door. When it comes to that fight or flight response caused by the stress of living where you live, the number one thing that I can tell you when it comes to trying to block out some of what you have to listen to day in and day out, coming and going from where you're at, get you a pair of headphones and keep that music playing as long as you can. And tune out the sirens and the arguing and the gunshots if you can, and the sideshows if you can. If you can, close the blinds when you get home. If you can, make sure people understand that there are hours of the day you're not available. Stillness, quiet, mixed with a proper diet. I didn't even try to make that rhyme, but that rhymed. Contributes to a calmer state for your body, a calmer state for your mind. The mind and the body work together. It does help with blood pressure. It can bring it down. If your numbers are high, this could help with that number. If your numbers are normal, this could help with that number as well. Because if it's high, it could bring it down. And if it's normal, that means what you're doing is working. So that's it for right now. Not meant to be super exhaustive, just something you can hold on to and snack on as you get further in your own personal health journey.